I know what I wanna do, but I don't know what for. To be living for you is all I want to do. To be loving you, it'll all be there when my dreams come true. Today, you're making me say that I somehow have changed. Today, you look into my eyes, I'm just not the same. To be any more than all I am would be a lie. I'm so full of love, I could burst apart and start to cry. Today, everything you want, I swear, it all will come true. Today, I realize how much I'm in love with you. With you standing here, I could tell the world what it means to love. To go on from here, I can't use words that don't say enough. Please, please, listen to me. It's taken so long to come true. And it's all for you. All for you.
What would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? And yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. If God had a face, what would it look like, and would you?
This is Matt Rock.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the friends.
Want to see if seeing meant that you would have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all the prophets. And yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. He's trying to make his way home. Back up to heaven all alone. Nobody calling on the phone, except for the Pope maybe in Rome. Yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. Like a holy rolling stone. Back up to heaven all alone. Just trying to make his way home. Nobody calling on the phone, except for the Pope maybe in Rome.
Watched it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. Yeah, it was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel. Man, it looked just like the Batmobile, with my old man behind the wheel. Well, you could hardly even see him in all of that chrome. The man with the plan and the pocket comb. But every night it carried him home, and I could hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados, and the foreign car's absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Got up every morning while I was still asleep. But I remember the sound of him shuffling around right before the crack of dawn. It's when I heard him turn the motor on. But when I got up, they were gone. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. Oh, the secrets that old car would know. Sometimes I hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados and the foreign cars absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. All the secrets that old car would know. I still hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God up in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorado and the foreign cars absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird.
changed. Today, you look into my eyes, I'm just not the same. To be any more than all I am would be a lie. I'm so full of love, I could burst apart and start to cry. Today, everything you want, I swear, it all will come true. Today, I realize how much I'm in love with you. With you standing here, I could tell the world what it means to love. To go on from here, I can't use words, they don't say enough. Please, please, listen to me. It's taken so long to come true. And it's all for you. All for you.
What would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? And yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. If God had a face, what would it look like, and would you want to see? If seeing meant that you would have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all the prophets. And God is great. God is good. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on except for the Pope maybe in Rome.
Watched it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. It was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel. Man, it looked just like the Batmobile, with my old man behind the wheel. Well, you could hardly even see him in all of that chrome. The man with the plan and the pocket comb. But every night it carried him home, and I could hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados, and the foreign car's absurd. I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Got up every morning while I was still asleep. But I remember the sound of him shuffling around right before the crack of dawn. When I heard him turn the motor on, but when I got up they were gone. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. Oh, the secrets that old car would know. Sometimes I hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados, and the foreign car's absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. All the secrets that old car would know. I still hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God up in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorado, and the foreign car's absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird.
Today, I know what I wanna do, but I don't know what for. To be living for you is all I want to do. To be loving you, it'll all be there when my dreams come true. Today, you're making me say that I somehow have changed. Today, you look into my eyes, I'm just not the same. To be any more than all I am would be a lie. I'm so full of love, I could burst apart and start to cry. Today, everything you want, I swear, it all will come true. Today, I realize how much I'm in love with you. With you standing here, I could tell the world what it means to love. To go on from here, I can't use words, they don't say enough. Please, please, listen to me. It's taken so long to come true. It's all for you. All for you.
The stranger on the bus trying to make his way home. If God had a face, what would it look like, and would you want to see? If seeing meant that you would have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all the prophets. And yeah, yeah, God is great. Yeah, yeah, God is good. Yeah, 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 yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on except for the Pope maybe in Rome.
Watched it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. Yeah, it was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel. Man, it looked just like the Batmobile, with my old man behind the wheel. Well, you could hardly even see him in all of that chrome. The man with the plan and the pocket comb. But every night it carried him home, and I could hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados, and the foreign car's absurd. I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird. Got up every morning while I was still asleep, but I remember the sound of him shuffling around.
Thank you all very much for coming, for being here for Erin and her family. I'll start with a little prayer. Our Father in heaven, you know that Erin, one of your precious daughters, hallowed your name. She longed for your kingdom to come and for your will to be done on earth. And we trust that she now takes her blessed place in that kingdom in heaven, celebrating at last the fulfillment of your holy will for her. Give to us gathered here, but especially to Erin's husband David and their children, Devlin, Emerson, and Lilu, to her mother Linda and father Ron, and to her entire close family, our daily bread, as Erin herself is feasting now on that nourishing bread. Forgive Erin and us any sins we may have committed, as she forgave those who sinned against her, and as we forgive those who sin against us. As you were with her in her times of trial, as her gentle friend and companion, never abandoning her, but delivering her from evil, in ways at times only known to you, So be with us in our times of trial, delivering us from evil. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forevermore. Amen.
Welcome, everyone, and thank you for being with us here today to honor the life of my dear sister, Erin Sharp. As I look out over this gathering of beloved faces, off in the distance is the oak tree that was planted here 20 years ago in remembrance of our grandfather, and I am reminded of how deep our roots run here in this place. For all of you joining us over the internet through the broadcast, we feel your presence here with us as well. Thank you for being here with us. Truly, it is our friends and family who are our points of light in this world. When we were little kids, Andrea, Erin, and I used to watch a cartoon called Gem and the Holograms. The show was about an ordinary girl who could transform herself into a rock star by pressing her star earrings. Whenever she was in a situation where she needed power and grace, she squeezed the earrings and said the word synergy to be connected to her inner strength. Erin told me she would do this whenever she was about to step on stage to give a professional presentation, or even when she was going into a party or entering a room where she wanted to dazzle the people within. The trick worked. Everyone was always amazed by her presence. So I stand here before you now, calling on that same energy, feeling her spirit beside me. It is certainly no wonder that the catchphrase or secret code word was synergy, which is defined as the connection or cooperation of multiple elements to produce a combined effect greater than its individual parts. Erin knew the concept well and lived her life with this guiding force in the forefront. When I first started thinking about how to organize what I wanted to say about Erin, I thought of those poems where you use the letters of one's name to describe one's personality. Erin herself was a very talented poet, and my offering here is by no means up to her standard of production, but I hope it conveys some of the wonderful things we all thought about her. E. E is for energetic, or as my dad would say, exuberant. Erin was our little Energizer bunny. She never stopped moving, creating, planning, or doing. Anyone who ever sat in the car with her for a long-distance road trip or picked up the phone to call her also knew that she never stopped talking. Erin was connected directly to source energy. She knew she could do anything she set her mind to. It was exhilarating to be in her presence. She exemplified the can-do attitude. She could bring a smile to your face within moments with a funny story and had all sorts of silly mannerisms that would make you laugh. She was nothing short of a force of nature. You never had to wonder if she was in the room or not. She turned heads and melted hearts. She was a brilliant light that shone into all of our lives. R. R is for resourceful. Erin was one of those people who could make something out of nothing. She could look into the pantry and make a meal out of anything she found there, although I still disagree with her that beans and pasta do not make a one-pot wonder. She could take a seemingly disparate group of people and find a common thread to weave together an interesting and lively dinner conversation. And of course, she could look at a pile of fabric and buttons and envision the most beautiful and majestic creations. She made historically accurate Renaissance gowns and ancient Greek royal garb based on her own in-depth research of those cultures. She was recognized for her artistry within the Society for Creative Anachronism, SCA for short, and was on the path to becoming a laurel, the highest honor within that society for talents in the creative arts. She won awards on her handmade Minoan pieces. Her kids have the best Halloween costumes. Her creative wellspring was endless, and everyone was amazed at what she could dream into being. I is for intelligent. Erin had stunning intellect. She knew something about everything. So many people have said that she was the smartest person they've ever known, and that's pretty astounding, actually. She craved knowledge the way most people crave cookies. She aced school and was the favorite student of many of her teachers. In turn, when she became a teacher herself, she was the favorite teacher of many of her students. That's very special. She had a way of conveying information that made you feel lighter and more connected afterwards, the essence of enlightenment. She wasn't a know-it-all, even though it seemed like she did indeed know everything. Like anything she wore her intelligence with style and grace, maybe with a little bit of eccentricity mixed in too. She was thoroughly interested in everything and wrapped you into her interests as well. What a treat it was to go to a museum or an art gallery with her. She made being smart fun and interesting. And she was on everyone's short list for whom to call if you ever needed to dial an expert on most topics. N is for nice. Erin was brilliantly, beautifully nice. She was the one who called the grandmothers weekly. She was the one who gave handmade gifts at Christmas. She was the one who went out of her way to make plans and visit. She was the one who would listen without judgment. She was thoughtful, she was kind. This characteristic of being nice is perhaps my favorite because I witnessed her working on it year after year. The gifts described previously were hers from the start: energetic, resourceful, intelligent. As for nice, in my experience growing up as her younger sister, I think she would agree with me and laugh a little alongside with me for outing her perhaps as a bit more on the naughty side than the nice side. But as we grew into adulthood and became not just sisters, but true friends, it was so beautiful for me to watch her access her inner core of love and strength and share it with others. This truly took flight when she met and married her beloved husband, David, and even more so when she brought her 3 wonderful children into this world. Erin exemplified love in action. She made the effort to bridge the gap, seal the bond, and make a loving connection with everyone who entered her world. In this way, she is an inspiration to me, and I hope so for all of you as well. At this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to 3 of Erin's dearest friends and also to her father, who would each like to share their thoughts on our wonderful Erin. Erin's husband, David, who is not able to join us here today, will share his remembrances by an audio recording. I'll rejoin you after their comments. Margaret Zimmerman.
Hi. Erin's family asked for poetry that she loved, so I want to start with one of her favorites by Pablo Neruda. While this poem was written about the ending of a romantic relationship, so many of the lines are appropriate to the loss that we're all experiencing. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. Write, for example, the night is starry, and the stars are blue and shiver in the distance. The night wind revolves in the sky and sings. Tonight I can write the saddest lines. I loved her, and sometimes she loved me too. Through nights like this one, I held her in my arms. I kissed her again and again under the endless sky. She loved me. Sometimes I loved her too. How could one not have loved her great still eyes? Tonight I can write the saddest lines. To think that I do not have her. To feel that I have lost her. To hear the immense night still more immense without her. And the verse falls to the soul like dew to the pasture. What does it matter that my love could not keep her? The night is starry and she is not with me. That is all. In the distance, someone is singing. In the distance. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. My sight tries to find her as though to bring her closer. My heart looks for her and she is not with me. The same night whitening the same trees. We of that time, we are no longer the same. I no longer love her, that's certain, but how I loved her. My voice tries to find the wind to touch her hearing. Another's. She will be another's, as she was before my kisses. Her voice, her bright body, her infinite eyes. I no longer love her, that's certain, but maybe I love her. Love is so short and forgetting is so long. Because through nights like this one I held her in my arms. My soul is not satisfied that it has lost her. Though this be the last pain that she makes me suffer, and these are the last verses that I write for her. Erin and I first met in 6th grade when she was 10 and I was 11. And we were paired together by our teacher for a science project on God knows what. I'm sure Erin would remember, just like I'm sure that she did all of the work. To be honest, I don't remember very much, except that when the project started, I wanted to be paired with Kim Reeves. And by the time it was over, Erin and I were inseparable. Then she was my best friend for 3 decades. Through the years, the frequency with which we talked and visited may have changed according to what was going on in our lives, but our bond never did. It only grew. Erin was my sister, and as close to me as anyone ever has been or ever will be. But you're not here to listen to our history. We're here to cherish and say goodbye to this unique, lovely person, to honor her today. I wanted to talk about what made her so special, what makes this goodbye so devastating. Erin was so loving, and she was, I believe, unique in the way that she loved people. The best way that I can explain it is that she loved not just with words, but actively. I felt that Erin loved me as clearly as I feel the sun on my face. And she showed me constantly by her simple desire to just be present in our friendship. For Erin's bachelorette party, she didn't want to go to Vegas. She had no interest in going out. She wanted Carolyn and I to bake cookies and watch Stand By Me. She wanted to have a sleepover party. She loved the movie Stand By Me because it honored the strongest friendships, those that are forged in childhood. In the same way that she would just set up camp in my spare bedroom, throw on set pants, and say that she just wanted to be with me. Her most genuine wish was always the company of those that meant the most to her. The incredible outpouring of sorrow over these past 3 weeks shows how many were touched by that simple, perfect sincerity she showed to everyone who was lucky enough to know her. Erin was brave. At 21 years old, Erin was taking classes for her teaching license at Towson University, and she overheard her classmates making fun of their disabled students. In front of an entire graduate school class, Erin stood up and told them that they should be ashamed of themselves, that they didn't deserve to teach students. There is no doubt that Erin did the right thing. But the courage she displayed, the sheer bravery in the face of her classmates to do that right thing, was a rare trait she exhibited again and again in her life. Always making the hard choice, always taking a principled approach, always making the right decision between what was easy and what was ethical. It was one of the things that I loved the most about her. Erin was funny. She was the most quick-witted person I have ever known. I will never forget when we were manning the drive-thru at McDonald's our senior year of high school, and a customer asked her what kind of fish was in the fillet of fish. Erin told her it was the kind of fish that you could catch, kill, dress, freeze, transport across state lines, deep fry, and put on a bun with both cheese and tartar sauce for only 99 cents. The customer ordered a Big Mac, and Erin didn't get fired because she was also incredibly charming. Erin was a wonderful mother. I admired her for this so much. It just came naturally to her in a way that I have just never experienced, and I constantly sought out her for advice. Just a few weeks ago, I texted Erin and Carolyn in this group chat that we had, and I told them my son, who was named Erin, had started making, frankly, these incredibly annoying, repetitive noises, and how I could stop him from doing it. And Erin told me he probably did it because it was comforting to him and to let him do it. But I said, shouldn't part of raising a child be to stop them from doing behaviors like this? Shouldn't I, as his mother, correct things like this, fix behaviors that are irritating, smooth out all of the characteristics that would be unpalatable to others? Erin said no. She said that life, school, the world, that they would all serve to show my son all kinds of things about him to feel insecure about. His unique attributes, his ways of self-comfort, they would all be scrutinized enough as he grew up. Erin told me that my role as his mother was to love him exactly as he was, to be that person in his life that marveled in him for being the perfect little human being that he is. My responsibility as a mother was only to love him and accept him completely. And I understood that because for as long as I've known her, Erin, my beloved best friend, always loved me and accepted me completely. Erin was remarkable. Every person in this world is special, but her love and her bravery, her cleverness and her warmth, her loyalty, they made her unique and unlike anyone else I've ever known or will ever know again. It will never be right that she is not here. It will never be okay that she did not meet her great-grandchildren. And my next words are not meant to undermine this at all. Not meant to undermine just the wrongness of the situation. But what I do want to suggest is a way that we can move through this sadness and loss and honor her going forward. And I think it's simple. Remember Erin with your actions. When things are hard and choices are difficult, be brave like Erin. Do the next right, hard thing. When there's an opportunity for kindness, take it. When compassion and understanding are options, choose them. Offer others the warmth and the love that we lost in her. Because that is how we honor her memory, and that is how we pay tribute. That is how we show, like Erin, not with words, but with action, that we are all so much better off for having loved and been loved by her. Thank you.
I'm Eli Lehrer, and I am a friend of Erin Sharp's. We're here today to remember a life well lived and far too short. Erin Sharp was many things: a nationally recognized expert on school lunch programs, a beloved teacher, a pin-up girl, a family woman, a scholar of the clothing styles of early antiquity, a skilled seamstress, a lover of museums, and a proud political liberal. We are here today because we knew her and we loved her. No litany of accomplishments can encompass her life or any life. I will not recite a resume. What I can do, I hope, as a friend, is to tell you something of what I knew of her. Some of what I will forever remember. Erin was one of the brightest people I've ever known. She became an expert at things, with speed that alarmed me. Her father told me if she didn't know how to do something, she would always figure it out. And she did. She mastered Anglo-Saxon better than I ever did, even though I was a medieval studies major and she was not. She gave talks at academic events just a few years after beginning her work on Minoan fashion. And whatever she did was excellent. When I was on the editorial staff of a small magazine, I commissioned her to write a short essay about her experience working at McDonald's. She turned around a brilliant piece that embodied personal experience, said something important about America's social class bias, and made me laugh. It ended up in several anthologies. There was no task, no intellectual achievement that I know her of failing at. Erin Shirley was a geek, and I mean that in the best possible sense. She loved science fiction, fantasy, novels, cosplay. Her persona is the glamorous Lady Petronella Lockhart in the Society for Creative Anachronism. But she was not someone who lived all of her days in the ivory tower. She was a person who craved and loved the physical. Movement, touch. Somebody who loved the intensity of experience. I myself grew up at a time and place when physical affection was rare and sometimes frowned upon. She hugged me, I believe, the second time we ever met. She taught me that it was okay to hug. Erin loved to move, to dance. She made the Baltimore Ravens cheerleading squad and stayed out of Cornell's dance squad because the moves were too easy for her. She mastered them during the initial warm-up before the tryout and took lip for showing off. She wasn't showing off, just displaying natural talents. I have never been a dancer, and one of the few times I have had any confidence in my own abilities, false I must say, was when I had the honor of dancing with her at her wedding. About the only other time I have was at my own wedding. She was a true friend, Over a 4th of July weekend a few years ago, traveling without my family on one of the few solo personal trips I've taken since getting married, I went to visit her and her family in a house she had just moved into in Ohio. I had recently spent several days at a dry, often political conference on insurance matters held at a luxury hotel. I had eaten prime steak, slept on 400 thread count linens, and mostly counted the hours until it was over. It was miserable. I was miserable. Then I came to Erin's cozy house, where she was living with her growing family, where I slept on the floor and hung out with other friends from the Cornell fraternity we both belonged to, Sigma Chi Delta. It was crowded. Kids all over. Clothing and toys strewn about, far from luxury. We watched a parade together, ate a pancake breakfast at a church, went to a local park, and I read books to her sons. I was happy, happier than I would have been at any luxury hotel. What made a difference was that Erin was there. She was a true friend. And Erin loved the place that I and many others here and watching first met her, Cornell University. She loved her Cornell fraternity. She spent the bulk of her adult life somehow associated with Cornell, as a student or an employee. When she left a life in Maryland to spend time with David and Ithaca, she told me and other friends that she was going home, and she meant it. She loved the energy, the vibe, the intellectual possibilities of life in Ithaca, even perhaps the physical isolation. Her favorite novel by a living author, discovered when she was a freshman at Cornell, was Fool on the Hill. It's a complicated fantasy novel about sprites, talking animals, St. George and the Dragon, and Cornell students. It's funny, fun, serious, sad, and brainy. A perfect book for Erin, one that embodied her, one that will always be with me, and that I will never again glance at without thinking of her. The author of the book, Matt Ruff, has recorded a short tribute to Erin, and now I'd like to share all of that with all of you. Please play the tribute.
This is Matt Ruff. I'm the author of Fool on the Hill, which I'm told was one of Erin Sharp's favorite novels. I want to offer my condolences today to Erin's family and her friends, and I'm very sorry for your loss. And, you know, I'm just glad if my work brought a little extra joy into Erin's too short life. And Erin, if you can hear me, this is for you. In calm but earnest tones, George escorted Aurora through the vast library he had built up in his mind, shelf upon shelf of unwritten volumes, an army of stories waiting their turn to be told. His greatest fear was that in death he would take some of the best of these stories with him, never having had the time to commit them all to paper. Yet this was also his greatest joy, for he knew his work would never be finished, knew the well would not run dry even if he outlived Methuselah. And Aurora, she had no library to reveal, but her dreams, like finely crafted antiques, would have more than filled the rooms of a tall mansion. Long past midnight she whispered to him, as she had never whispered to anyone, of knights and sorcerers, boisterous but cunning dragons, obsidian roads like frozen black rivers. Slowly George came to understand that her desire was not just to think or read about such things, but that she honestly desired to experience a fairy tale. This was both more courageous and more difficult in ambition than simple storytelling, yet not so difficult, George realized, as he might once have believed. Godspeed, Erin.
Thank you very much for listening. Erin Sharp was an extraordinary woman, and, as is said in my faith tradition, may her memory be a blessing. Thank you, and I'd like to hand things over to Heather.
Hello. I'm the last of the friends you have to listen to, so a few minutes you can listen to the family. We have a few more silly tales to tell. I always think of Erin with her looping S initial, her curving artistic slanted letter that she signed quickly and effortlessly with grace. But today I'm focusing on a different letter when I think of her. The one that kept coming to mind was the letter T. So the first T is for teacher. I met her when she began teaching in 2001 at Long Reach High School. When they told me they hired a new teacher, I had not met her yet, but I had a small grudge because administration had decided over the summer to give her my schedule and me the new teacher one. My disgruntled opinions were quickly assuaged when I met her. I fell in love with her immediately. I loved her exuberance, her zeal, her ideas, her passion. We ended up quickly forming a bond, going to lunch, planning lessons, sewing. She cared deeply for her students and would often counsel and talk to them beyond the hours of our hectic days. She ran a belly dancing club. She was the color guard coach. She was an epic teacher, and I think she left before she could allow it to consume her. The education system is changing, and often when I talked to her on the phone, she lamented not being with the kids, but not all of the new policies and procedures that I was dealing with. I think right now being in a room with those kids and being told she couldn't hug or touch them probably would have proved impossible for Erin. The second T is for travel. It's because of Erin that my husband and I got our passports for the first time. We took our first adventure across the pond. Erin told me she was planning an EF tour, their education first. She was going to London over spring break in 2008. I said, "Oh, that sounds like fun." What I didn't know is that we were going on a whirlwind posse of 47 people, 38 students, 11 chaperones, in this insanely fast-paced 5-day journey where I'm not sure we slept. As our friend Michael McKenna pointed out, Erin might be the only person we have to tell repeatedly to slow down while traveling. We went to the Globe Theatre. We saw shows at the West End. We went to Stonehenge, the Roman Baths, the Tower of London, and so on and so on. I can regale you with tales for days. Erin was lightning. She was full of wonder and plans, and she wanted to milk every last minute before returning. She would tell us and the kids, "You can sleep when you get home." Our stories are not all for this venue. There's some children present, but if you want to buy me a pint sometime, I will tell you hilariously inappropriate stories of our escapades. From there, I did another trip with Erin, a 3-week, 7-country misadventure as her roommate and de facto date. From here, we bought dirndls in Munich. We rode the salt mines into Salzburg for my birthday. We wandered in reverence around Dachau. We went to a castle in Heidelberg and we sampled the king's wine. We drank our weight in beer at the Hofbrauhaus. We rode rides at the Prater in Vienna that defied safety regulations. We lived to tell our tales of our exploits for all of your amusement, and what happens in Budapest, thankfully, stays in Budapest. My next T is for tenacity. As everyone else has said, Erin loved and cared more deeply than I thought possible. I used to joke with her. She would come into my classroom and just plop down. She wouldn't speak. She just wanted to be near someone. I always associated it with growing up a twin. But she surrounded herself with loving, artistic people. She would always tell me they were her favorite kind of people. She heralded integrity and honesty. She bloomed with creativity. She loved the arts. And she stood for everything that was pure and good and true. When she began dating Dave, I made sure he was worthy, and I remember when we all went to pick crabs, I told her the next day how much I truly liked him, and how much I loved that he doted and seemed mesmerized by her. Dave, you can send a check later. And the last word is from a list that Erin loved that she gave me when we were teaching. It's a list of obscure emotions you didn't know even existed. They have odd pronunciations, definitions, and words, and it was exactly the kind of list that Erin would leave me on my desk as a teacher. So this one is catastrophic tristesse. It's a noun. It means the sadness that you'll never really know what other people think of you, good or bad at all, and although we reflect on the others with the sharpness of a mirror, the true picture of how we're perceived comes to us softened and distorted, as if each mirror was preoccupied with twisting around, desperately trying to look itself in the eye. Erin, I don't know catastrophic tristesse. I mean, I do for me. God only knows what people think of me, but I meant for you and us. We always told each other I love you at the end of our atomic cheesecake epic pinup shoots, our phone calls, our trips, our moments that have created a legacy of love. I know what you thought of me, and I of you. I loved you wholeheartedly, flaws and all. And I'm gonna miss you, my friend. Words sometimes fail me, which is bad because I'm an English teacher and a writer. But I'm going to end with the words of someone else. It's a poem called Epitaph by Merritt Malloy. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. When you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. And in that, I'll see you at home one day in this earth. Rest easy, Erin.
Thank you for coming today. The comforting words that we've received from family and friends near and far have touched us deeply. Many of you have expressed your sympathies to our family, saying how you can't imagine how we feel. Thank you for all of your heartfelt concern, because you were all correct. You can't imagine this. We feel as if we've been hollowed out, just a thin paper shell of a person. No skeleton, no insides, just numb all over. None of Shakespeare's tragedies come close to this. At the end of The Wizard of Oz, the Tin Man says to Dorothy that he knows now he has a heart because it's breaking. That is us. We pray you never have to go through this. Erin loved us all. Erin loved us, one and all. She loved with all of her heart, without hesitation, without conditions. She had a special affinity for the elder generations in our family, in her life. Linda's mom, Etta Spaulding, who was with us today, and Doris Sharp, my father's second wife, who was watching, were two of her favorite people. Erin called them both at least once a week without fail. She made sure to visit them whenever she was in Maryland. Mr. Spaulding, known as Poppy, my parents, my mom and granddaddy, aren't with us any longer, though in some way I'm sure they've got their arms around Erin, as do her two great-grandmothers on Linda's side, Nana Spaulding and Nana Ridgely. I'm sure Erin is with them too, along with her Uncle Rob, Aunt Mary, Uncle Lou, Aunt Mary Louise. Erin loved music, and we're going to intersperse a couple of songs today that she liked. She was very fond of a group called Carbon Leaf, about whom I know nothing. She loves storytelling songs, in particular those by people like the Dixie Chicks, or Harry Chapin, or Bruce Springsteen. She loves Springsteen's imagery, like a vision she danced across the porch as the radio played Roy Orbison. Or those memories come back to haunt me. They haunt me like a curse. Is a dream a lie if it doesn't come true, or is it something worse? But remember all the movies, Terry, we'd go see, trying to learn like to walk like the heroes we thought we had to be. The first of the songs we're going to play is from Jefferson Airplane. It's entitled Today. The last time we were with Erin, in the third week of May, I asked her Alexa machine to play songs from my high school and college era. The day after we left, she texted me and said, "What was that song?" So I know she really liked it. And listening to it, you can imagine Erin having written these soulful and passionate lyrics.
Today, I know what I wanna do, but I don't know what for. To be living for you is all I want to do. To be loving you, it'll all be there when my dreams come true. Today, you're making me say that I somehow have changed. Today, you look into my eyes, I'm just not the same. To be any more than all I am would be a lie. I'm so full of love, I could burst apart and start to cry. Today, everything you want, I swear, it all will come true. Today, I realize how much I'm in love with you standing here. I could tell the world what it means to love. To go on from here, I can't use words, they don't say enough. Please, please, listen to me. It's taken so long to come true. It's all for you. All for you.
Erin was an extraordinary human being. I marveled how she went from tomboy to adolescent to scholar to beauty to graduate to teacher to mentor to published author to wife and to mother, all while making friends with her easygoing smile, her generosity, and her compassion for her fellow man. At one of her graduations, I told her that of all of her many gifts, her passion for life was her greatest, and to never lose it. And she never did. She lived life with abandon, tackling every problem with forethought and conviction, greeting each person with a genuine smile and a warm hug. The world needs more people like Erin Sharp. A lot more. Her compassion didn't stop with family or friends. Linda was with her once in Ohio, traveling home after a trip to the grocery store. They passed a homeless family on the side of the road with small children. No money, no job, no food, no gas, the sign read. Erin immediately pulled over and gave that family half the groceries that she had just bought. Total strangers. I doubt if she ever gave it a second thought about pulling over. Like all of us, at one time or another, Erin wondered about a supreme being. She sometimes sat alone in the sanctuary of the church over there to meditate or pray while Linda conducted some church business. She also loved a singer-songwriter called Joan Osborne. And those two things came together in this song called One of Us.
If God had a name, what would it be, and would you call it to his face? If you were faced with him in all his glory, what would you ask if you had just one question? And yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. If God had a face, what would it look like, and would you want to see? If seeing meant that you would have to believe in things like heaven and in Jesus and the saints and all the prophets. And yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Just a stranger on the bus, trying to make his way home. Trying to make his way home. Back up to heaven all alone. Nobody calling on the phone, except for the Pope maybe in Rome. Yeah, God is great. Yeah, God is good. Yeah. What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.
For those of you here who are lucky enough to be fathers, and luckier yet to be fathers of daughters, and luckier still to be fathers of a daddy's girl, you have some inkling as to what Erin and I had. We agreed that the great American novel had already been written, To Kill a Mockingbird. The genius of that story is having it told through the eyes of a child, and it's just as impactful today as the day it was released. We shared the same finely honed sense of humor. When she heard something funny, she just cackled out loud. We shared so many of these moments. We'd often finish each other's thoughts, usually with a funny line from a movie or a TV show that one of us would recall after something in real life had brought it to mind. I want to tell a few short stories that we shared again and again. During our high school days, I read an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer about some tin-horn African dictator who had died. The article said this person had practiced cannibalism by eating his enemies with relish. And we both imagined the possibilities. Well, what kind of relishes do they have in Africa? Was it like a pickle relish? Was it a true relish or more of a chutney? Yes. In the fall of 2001, we received an advertisement in the mail from a lawn care company. Erin was staying with us then while she was getting one of her 2 master's degrees. 9/11 had just occurred, and I guess there had been a drought that year. The advertisement began, 2001 was a terrible year for our country and our lawns. Whenever we'd hear anyone utter some terrible sentence or grammar after that, we just looked at each other and grinned, each of us knowing what it was all about. During an episode of Cheers, Sam and Diane were going at it tooth and nail. An exasperated Sam blurts out, "All you ever want to do is read that stupid Russian poetry. It doesn't even rhyme." Erin, the poet, just loved that one. We both loved Charlie Chaplin movies. Erin in particular loved the scene in Gold Rush where Charlie made the dinner rolls dance. Google it. It's a hoot. When she was a teacher at Long Reach, I suggested that she get a poster of Dean Wormer lecturing Flounder in Animal House. "Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son." It's funny how many times that came up in real life, and we laughed at each one. One last one. In the Monty Python movie Life of Brian, in the Sermon on the Mount scene, Brian is in the back of the crowd, and no one can clearly hear what is being said. So the people lean over one to another and say, "What'd he say? What'd he say?" And somebody answered, "Blessed are the Greek." And they say, "What's so great about the Greek?" So the scene continues, and "What'd he say? What'd he say?" "Blessed are the cheesemakers." Now jump forward to about 4 years ago. Erin and I attended a lecture by Dan Rather at Kent State. The lecture was held in the basketball arena. And the speaker was at one end, and we were at the other end of the stands at the other end of the court. And the acoustics were not so good. It was sometimes difficult to understand what was being said. At one point, I leaned over to Erin and said, "Blessed are the cheesemakers." She just erupted in that unmistakable cackle of hers. And I think most of the 8,000 people there heard her and reflexively stared at us. Didn't matter to Erin. She thought it was funny, and when something is funny, you just laugh. This last song was played at both of our weddings during the father of the bride dances. It's a story about the writer's love and appreciation of his father, who's simply going to work each day, year in, year out, no matter what. We both love this song. We sang the lyrics to each other during both dances. I told her that if I had a song to sing about my love and appreciation for my father, it would be this one. It's called Silver Thunderbird by Mark Cohn.
Watched it coming up Winslow down South Park Boulevard. Yeah, it was looking good from tail to hood. Great big fins and painted steel. Man, it looked just like the Batmobile, with my old man behind the wheel. Well, you could hardly even see him in all of that chrome. The man with the plan and the pocket comb. But every night it carried him home, and I could hear him say, "Don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados, and the foreign car's absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird." I remember the sound of him shuffling around right before the crack of dawn. It's when I heard him turn the motor on. But when I got up, they were gone. Down the road in the rain and snow, the man and his machine would go. Oh, the secrets that old car would know. Sometimes I hear him saying, don't you give me no Buick. Son, you must take my word. If there's a God in heaven, he's got a silver Thunderbird. You can keep your Eldorados and the foreign cars absurd. Me, I wanna go down in a silver Thunderbird.
Erin was the most creative person I've ever known, by far. She used her creativity in so many ways. Writing poetry, belly dancing, teaching, designing dresses, making costumes for herself and her children. You should have seen their Halloween costumes, new costumes every year. The boys as dragons or Lilu as a princess. As a girl, Erin was Charlie Chaplin in the Little Tramp getup with derby and cane and penciled-in mustache, or Dorothy with the blue and white dress and pigtails, wicker basket with Toto inside, and of course ruby slippers. As a young adult, she was Lucille Ball in the Grape Stomping episode, or Carmen Sandiego. Both perfect in detail, makeup and all. I was always amazed by gifts from Erin. When Erin gave you a gift, it was from the heart. It was never off the shelf. It was never a gift card. She knew what you liked in life. She found something or she made something to perfectly fit into it. We are so grateful that she met David. He was perfect for Erin, matching her in intellect and passion and view of the future. David loved and cherished Erin, and she him. To see how they were raising Devlin and Emerson and Lilu was pure joy. The word doting doesn't come close to Erin's parentage. She and David always allowing them to freely follow their interests, only refocusing them when they got a bit too far out of bounds. They guided them and nurtured them, and yet were always challenging them to learn more, to go farther in whatever they were doing. Family hikes or educational opportunities. What kind of flower is this? What kind of bug is that? Trips to the town library resulted in armloads of books being brought back home, all of which Erin made sure were read. Trips to visit us from Ohio were punctuated by stops at museums. Linda and I are comforted in knowing that David will continue raising them in this manner and that they will grow from beautiful children into beautiful adults. David and Erin's love for their children led them to become foster parents. Their initial attempt was to take in a male relative from within David's extended family. It didn't work out. Last year in Ohio, after all foster parent qualifications were met, they asked to take in one child, preferably a male, 10 or 12 years old. They were assigned 3 half-siblings last November. A boy about 13 and a girl about 11 and another girl about 2.5. All 3 had come from underprivileged backgrounds. The youngest had dwarfism, wasn't potty trained, couldn't even feed herself. They essentially had no belongings. Erin and David took to those 3 as if they'd been their own flesh and blood. Those 3 foster children experienced their first true Christmas. The advances those 3 made in the short time they were with David and Erin, and the way they 8 of them melded into one larger family, just melted your heart. What I wouldn't give to share one more petting of our dog Lucy with Erin, to share one more laugh about Sam and Diane, to discuss one more novel, to have one more meandering walk through the woods, one more swim in the ocean, one more cherry berry pie, one more breakfast with a stack of blueberry pancakes, one more Christmas, to hear one more "Hi, Daddy," or to have one more hug. That's all. Just one more of everything. But that day will have to wait. Until then, we'll think of her with our arms around us. Where do we go from here? First of all, we don't take tomorrow for granted, for life is too precious and too fragile. We tell the people that we love, and that we love them every day. We live life with abandon. We follow our hearts. We wear clothes that are purple and green and red all at the same time. We practice random acts of kindness. We live and love fully. Rest in peace, Erin. The world needs more people like you.
We'll be joined now by audio from David, Erin's husband.
Good afternoon to all the friends and family who knew my beautiful wife. Before I begin with my own words, I asked our 3 children to think of something that they would like to tell their mother Erin directly. These are their unedited words, so please remember that Devlin is 8, Emerson is 6, and Leonel is 4, and they are still trying to understand the reality of what our life has now become. From Devlin: you are my otter mama, and I loved cuddling with you. Thank you for cooking me all the foods I like to eat, and never making me eat anything I didn't want. I wish you were still here with us. I'm lonely now. From Emerson: I liked when you made us dragons out of toilet paper. I like how you did all of the laundry and only made us clean up sometimes. I liked how you could turn anything into a dragon costume. I miss you very much. From Leonel: I liked when I had milk from your boobies. I like when I was a baby, and she was my mama. Our kids are tough and resilient because they had a mother who taught them to be as passionate, as fierce, as strong, as accepting, and as loving as Erin was. She would have done anything for them, and I know this because she did everything for them. We miss her. We miss her terribly. But for her, we will be passionate. We will be fierce. We will be strong. We will be accepting. And we will love. We will love. And we will never stop loving. The best gift I gave to Erin was to give her a life where she could recklessly be herself at all times, with support and without judgment. We took her last name when we got married, because I wanted the world to know that I loved Erin Sharp, and she didn't need to change a damn thing about herself to make me the happiest man in the world. Erin, I don't sleep anymore. There were a few brief moments of respite in the 22 days since you've been gone, but most of my nights are spent staring at the dark, reliving the lifetime of memories that we created together these past and short 11 years. The first moment I laid eyes upon you has forever been burned into my memory, and it's a vision I've played in my eyelids for too often these days. I had just arrived at my very first Penzic camping event in the summer of 2009, and only knew 2 or 3 of the people I was going to spend the next 2 weeks camping with. Our mutual friend Anthony drove me to our campsite and said, "I think there is someone that you are going to get along great with. Her name is Erin, and I think the two of you will be friends. She's right over there." He pointed to you, and time stopped moving. You were wearing a green Elizabethan dress, and the sun was at your back, outlining you in a brilliant aura of gold. Before he could introduce us, and without any real thoughts or plans or considerations, I jumped out of the back of the truck and walked directly over to you. You turned to see this tall, dashing stranger walking directly towards you, and, like you did with everyone, flashed me a huge smile, because that's just who you were. Nobody was a stranger the moment they met you. The first words I ever spoke to you were, "Hi, I know we've never met, but my name is David, and I'm going to marry you." Your first words were appreciative, but not in agreement with my interpretation of the situation. In fact, calling it a friendly but complete rejection would be a more correct assessment of your response. Nevertheless, I was undeterred. And over the course of the next 6 months, my life and my future was changed for the better. A few secretive dates after that camping event, you invited me down to Baltimore so that we could drive with your best friends to the beach to celebrate your birthday. I drove the 6 hours from New York, checked into my hotel room, and was met with a panicked, "Never mind, I can't introduce you to my friends. It's too soon. I'm sorry. Go home." Text message. I shrugged and told you to have a great birthday and that I'd drive home in the morning. Great women are worth waiting for, and so I resigned myself to try again in a few weeks. I'm not sure who changed your mind, probably Margaret, but I was woken the next morning with someone drawing a smiley face in the condensation of my hotel window and a text message that simply said, "Get in the car." I learned then that your ability to pivot from one decision to the next was a skill only outdone by your mercurial, ever-changing hairstyles and hair colors. A few months after a dramatically romantic but rejected attempt to propose to you at Niagara Falls, I tricked you into putting my mother's engagement ring onto your finger just to try it on and see what it feels like to be engaged to me. You did, and I yelled, "That counts, no takebacks," and ran out of the room with my fingers in my ears to prevent you from refuting my elementary school tactics of proposing to you. Because if romance in Niagara Falls doesn't work, trickery definitely would. You mulled it over for a few hours while I was away, and when I returned, you told me that you'd agree to marry me if we could keep it a secret for a few months while you figured out how to quit your job, tell your parents that you were marrying a man who lived 6 hours away that you'd only known and dated long distance for 6 months, and move up to Ithaca, New York. This seemed fair, so we agreed that you would wear the engagement ring while visiting me, but leave it with me for safekeeping when you were in Baltimore. Now, I was so nervous that you would change your mind that I developed this habit of keeping the ring in my pocket and constantly rubbing it with my thumb to remind myself that it was there and you had said yes. After 1 week, I had developed a callus on my thumb. After 2 weeks, I had lost the ring and had to buy you a new one. Later on, when you informed your family that you were getting married, you told your father that we had decided to take his last name instead of my own. You told me that his response was, "Well, that's stupid. Why would someone do that?" You then told him that our children, our future children, Devlin, Emerson, and Lionel, would be the only ones to carry on the Sharp name, and that he would have grandchildren that shared the name with him. And you told me he became teary-eyed and said, "Well, I guess that's okay then." And this was a good choice. The Sharps are amazing people, and it has been nothing less than an honor to have been granted the ability to make myself and our children Sharps, not only in spirit, but also in name. Through us, the name and memories of Erin Sharp will never be extinguished. And all of the stories that I give are simply a few highlights from the first 6 months we were together. Over the next 10.5 years, we traveled the world, brought 3 lives into existence, learned new skills, made new friends, created and shared countless secrets, jokes, and memories, and made a life for ourselves and our family that could not have been any better. But these first 6 months of risk-taking, faith in each other, and leaping without looking are what made the foundation of our marriage and our friendship so strong. We knew we could trust each other to always catch the other if we tripped or stumbled. And that knowledge, that trust, that faith is what encouraged us both to learn to fly. And oh, how we soared together, Erin. We chased our dreams and we floated amongst the clouds. So today I get to say thank you, one more time to you, and in front of everyone who loved you. Thank you for taking a chance on me. And I know that you knew I love you deeply and without reservation. You brightened my life more in 11 years than I had thought possible. And I know that every day you thought it wasn't enough, and you vowed to give me even more tomorrow. I am grateful that you came along, and I feel incredible pain that you were taken away so young. While it is obvious how important you were to me, only now that you are gone has it become obvious how much less of a man I am without your bright-eyed enthusiasm, incredible talent, boundless love, and eardrum-piercing laughter at my side. What was once a perfect life has become very difficult, and I find myself adrift in an ocean of silence without you here. You enjoyed life in a way that few could keep up with. You enthusiastically made friends with anyone, no matter where we were, who they were, or what hour of the day it was. You saw the good in everyone. You accepted everyone for who they were. You made a point of calling everyone to check in on them and make sure they weren't lonely. When you asked somebody how they were, you wanted to know. You learned to crochet so that you could make gifts for people. You learned to sew so that you could make gifts for people. You learned to weave so that you could make gifts for people. You invited anyone who even accidentally complimented your belly dancing outfits to take free lessons from you at our home. You finished your Christmas shopping for your family and my family by August. You spent our entire life collecting pretty things and then handing them out to friends so that the two of you could share a moment and a memory. You turned our house into an accidental bed and breakfast by making sure that a different friend or family visited us every weekend during summer break when we were at home. You owned so many chairs that our house always had enough seating for 50 people. You made 3 mugs of tea for yourself every day. You reheated them multiple times, and you never finished drinking any of them. You were tone deaf and couldn't remember the lyrics, but you sang your heart out and made up whatever words you needed to fill in the blanks. You sneezed in a way that made the windows shake. You couldn't tell a joke. You simply said the first half, giggled a bit, yelled whatever part of the punchline you could recall, and then laughed yourself silly while I stood there in a stunned silence. You accepted my strengths. You embraced my flaws. And you never made me doubt for a single minute that I was yours, you were mine, and our life was nothing less than extraordinary. And above all, I am humbled and blessed to have been a part of the life of a great woman, and I am so proud to have been able to call you my wife, to call me your husband. You were my best friend. You are the mother of my children. You are my better half, my smarter half, my prettier half, and my world entire. You were unique. You were complex. and you are irreplaceable. So thank you, Erin. Thank you for everything. Your husband and your children love you, and we miss you so much.
Thank you all so much for these beautiful memories of Erin. Each recounting shines a light on the magnificent person Erin Sharp was and always will be. I would like to take a few moments to say a heartfelt thank you to everyone who has supported our family with your outpouring of love and concern, and by providing meals and other kindnesses to us. It is so appreciated. We would also like to express our deep gratitude to each and every person who has followed the link on Erin's Facebook page and donated to her GoFundMe campaign. We appreciate every dollar that has been given in support of Erin's 3 children, Devlin, Emerson, and Lilu. It is a testament to just how special Erin was that the fund has reached nearly $30,000 in just 3 weeks. I'm also asking that if you have not yet made a donation, please consider doing so today. Please help us get to that threshold or beyond. And on this note, I'm announcing a matching pledge of $1,000 for any donations made to the fund through the end of June. For every dollar you give, I will give one also. And this will generate at least $2,000 more for Erin's children's futures. Please join us in this effort, and we thank you again from the bottom of our hearts for all of you who are helping our family in this way. In closing, I'd like to share some passages from Khalil Gibran, whose poetry is a favorite of both mine and Erin's. At my wedding, Erin honored me by reading his passage about marriage, and in our journeys as mothers, we referred to his writings on children. Now I will share with you these thoughts on friendship and love. Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field, which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. For without words, in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared. And let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning, and is refreshed. And now on love. When love beckons to you, follow him, though his ways are hard and steep. And when his wings enfold you, yield to him, though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him. For even as love crowns you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. And even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so too shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. All these things love shall do unto you, so that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. And when you love, say not that God is in my heart, but rather I am in the heart of God. Each of us who are lucky enough to know Erin knew both her friendship and her love. And indeed, we did meet in the heart of God, or in the middle of the universe, or whatever you would like to call it. For it is the connections like these that show us what love is and what to do with it. To turn our faces towards the beautiful, to search our hearts for the very best they have to offer, to give of our talents freely, to see the divine in others, and to act with kindness, compassion, and genuine caring every day of our lives. Let us now go into the world with these thoughts in our hearts and our minds to live and love fully as Erin did, remembering that what she accomplished and experienced in 40 years is beyond what many of us will achieve in 80 years. She is gone from our world far too soon, but she is with us always in our hearts. Love to you always, dear sister. Peace and namaste always to your beautiful spirit. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, you're welcome to leave memories in the memory book up here on the table, and you can take them with you.